Dear students, in the previous lecture we see that the basic theory associated with the electrostatic, then the basic theory associated with the magnetostatics, and we also consider that both theories are useful for generating a new type of equations which are nothing but known as a Maxwell's equation. Last time we see that these Maxwell's equations all are written in terms of a differential form as well as their integral form. But before considering the details or applications of Maxwell equation, let us consider the first article, that is associated with the charge. If the charge is moving in an electric field as well as magnetic field, now that type of force exert on that force is nothing but defined as a Lorentz force. That means according to the electrostatic theory, we know that if charge is present in an electric field, then the force exert on that charge particle is defined by F is equal to Q into vector E, where F is nothing but the force exert on charge Q due to the presence of an electric field. Similarly, in the case of magnetostatic theory, if charge is moving with velocity V, then there is also a type of force exert on that charge particle, and so that force is defined. So this is equation 1. Now that force is defined by F. F is equal to this charge Q is moving with velocity V, so there is a sideways deflecting force as well as there is the existence of magnetic induction, so it is indicated by B, and so this is the equation number 2. That means if the charge is present in electric field, then the force is defined by F equal to QE, and if the charge is moving in magnetic field, then F is given by Q into vector V cross vector B. But if this charge is present in electric as well as magnetic field simultaneously, then the total force exert on that charge particle is nothing but the sum of these two forces. So total force F is nothing but equal to, we have the first force due to the electric field and the second one is nothing but force due to the magnetic field. So it is indicated by using this equation, and so we get a final equation that Q into bracket we have vector E plus vector V cross vector B. So this is nothing but the total force exerted on the charged particle if this charge is moving electric as well as magnetic field. So this type of force is nothing but also referred as a Lorentz force. This is the one type of important equation in the electromagnetic theory. Similarly, the second one is the equation of continuity. So to consider the equation of continuity, we have the equation of continuity. We have the current I is defined by, so we know the definition of current I. It is nothing but simply defined as rate of change of charge. But within that volume, net amount of charge will be goes on decreasing, so we have a negative sign, so minus dq upon dt. So equation is represented by using this one. Similarly, in this case, Q is expressed in terms of charge density, that is volume density of charge, and we know that volume density of charge is defined by rho. Rho is nothing but given by equation, that is limit delta V tends to 0, charge, that is delta Q divided by delta V, and from which we can easily calculate the value of charge Q is nothing but by integrating of rho density, so integrating over V of rho into dV. So this equation also can be written as minus d by dt of Q. Q is nothing but written as integral over V rho into dV, or it should be written as minus integral over V dabba rho upon dabba t into dV. So this is nothing but to say that equation for current, and this current can be expressed in terms of charge density rho. Similarly, we have the another, say that according to magnetostatic theory, we also define the current density, and current density is defined by, so current density is nothing but divided by J, and it is nothing but given by limit delta V tends to delta S tends to 0, delta I, so delta I upon delta S, and from which we can easily calculate the value of I. I is nothing but equal to integral over S over the closed surface of vector J dot n ds. So current is also expressed in terms of current density J, and it is nothing but defined by using this equation. So equation 1 is also the equation of current, equation 2 is also the equation of current, but here it is current is expressed in terms of charge density rho. Here the current density current is expressed in terms of current density J. And so if equate these two equations, so we get the equations is, say that equation 1 and 2, from which we write integral over S J dot n ds is equal to minus integral over V dabba rho upon dabba t into dv. So we have this equation. Now from this equation we have do two integral. One on left hand side we have surface integral, while on right hand side we have volume integral. So this surface integral is easily converted in terms of volume integral by using then Gauss divergence theorem. So we apply then Gauss divergence theorem here. So apply Gauss divergence theorem, we can easily write the left hand side. So Gauss divergence theorem. So integral is converted in terms of volume, and here we have a divergence of that vector, that is divergence of vector j into dv is equal to minus integral over v dabba rho upon dabba t into dv. So on both sides we have same volume element which consider here, and so a new equation is obtained, and this equation is nothing but written as divergence of j is equal to minus dabba rho upon dabba t. So this equation is nothing but referred as a equation of continuity. This equation of continuity states that what it indicates, on left hand side we have divergence of vector j, while on right hand side we have a time derivative of charge density rho. So it states that, so equation of continuity states that if charge is moving out of differential volume, that is nothing but divergence of j, it is always equal to the net amount of charge goes on decreasing. That means there is a rate of change of charge density goes on decreasing, so we have a negative sign, and so this equation is nothing but written as divergence of j is equal to minus dabba rho upon dabba t. So this is also important equation in the development of the electromagnetic theory. So this is the important equation. This equation is nothing but called as the equation of continuity. Now these are the fundamental equations, and by using these equations Maxwell's developed then these equations, and which are defined. The first one, that is nothing but said that the equation, that equation is nothing but known as modified form of Ampere circuit law. So main contribution of Maxwell particularly to develop this equation, that is nothing but modified form of Ampere circuit law. So this modified form of Ampere circuit law can be obtained by applying these equations, modified form of Ampere's law. Now in the previous lecture we already seen that the Ampere's law is written in terms of magnetic induction B as well as in terms of magnetic intensity H, and so the equation for magnetic intensity H is written as curl of vector H is equal to J. So this is the equation which is obtained from Ampere circuit law, which can be expressed in terms of magnetic intensity H, and it is related with the J. J is nothing but known as a true current density. Now if we have the equation of continuity where we have divergence of J in the previous equation, divergence of J equal to minus dabba rho upon dabba t. Now we want to apply that equation of continuity to this equation. That means we take divergence on this equation, that means divergence on both sides. So we have divergence of this del cross of H or curl of H is equal to divergence of J. We already know that if we have operators, two operators, one is divergence, another is the curl operator on any vector, then they are always equal to 0. So on left hand side we have the term 0, while on right hand side we have the term that divergence of J becomes equal to 0. So this is nothing but the main contradiction which is occur in the case of Ampere's law. Main contradiction means here divergence of J means the amount of charge moving out of differential volume becomes equal to 0. Right? And so if we put that equation of continuity, according to the equation of continuity, we know that what is the divergence of J? Divergence of J is nothing but equal to minus dabba rho upon dabba t. And so this equation can be rewritten as 0 is equal to minus dabba rho upon dabba t. That means dabba rho upon dabba t also becomes equal to 0. So this is the main contradiction say that occur in the case of Ampere circuit law. So Maxwell's contribution is particularly to develop this equation. And so this equation is also referred as modified form of Ampere circuit law. That means Maxwell proposed there is some changes in this equation. What he proposed, if we apply equation of continuity to this equation, that is Ampere circuit law, that if we apply equation of quantity, it becomes equal to 0, and this is the main contradiction which is occur. And so to obtain the modified form, he suggests that the current density, true current density is incomplete, and he suggests something should be added in J. That means the equation A can be rewritten as, that is curl of vector H is equal to J plus, he suggests that, suppose that it is denoted by J dash. So this is nothing but equation number suppose B. So Maxwell proposed that the value of J is incomplete, so he added some term in this case that is nothing but indicated by J dash. Now we want to evaluate then again the value of J dash. So for that purpose, what we consider, we again apply equation of quantity, means we take divergence of this equation on both sides. So we take then divergence of, so apply equation of continuity, we rewrite this equation, apply equation of continuity to this equation. So we get then the divergence of, so we have divergence of curl of H is equal to, here divergence of J plus we have divergence of J dash. Again on left hand side, divergence of curl of any vector becomes equal to 0. So this equation is nothing but equal to 0, which is equal to, now divergence according to the equation of quantity, we know that divergence of J equal to minus delta rho upon delta T. So we put this value in this equation, minus delta rho upon delta T, plus we have divergence of J dash. So this equation does not becomes equal to, say that there is some dependent parameters which are occur, and so we get a new equation, that is divergence of J dash is equal to, we have delta rho upon delta T. So this is nothing but, say that modified equation, that is nothing but J dash is nothing but given by using this equation. Now according to the Maxwell equation, we already known that divergence of vector D equal to rho. So Maxwell first equation is divergence of vector D equal to rho. So put the value of rho in that equation. So equation should be rewritten. So this equation where we put the value of rho is nothing but equal to divergence of vector D. So using the equation, so we have put this value in the above equation. So what we get, divergence of J dash is equal to del by delta T of this divergence of D. So divergence of vector D. So equation should be rewritten. Now there are the two operators, one is del operator, another is the time derivative. So they are independent operators, and so we may interchange them. So equation should be rewritten, that is divergence of, here we have the term that is delta D upon delta T. And so on left hand side we have also divergence operator, on right hand side we have also a divergence operator. So we eliminate on both sides, so we have a new term, that is the value of J dash is calculated, and J dash is nothing but equal to delta D upon delta T. So this is nothing but, say that the new term which is added by Maxwell in equation B, that is J dash, and the value of J dash is nothing but equal to delta D upon delta T. So Maxwell proposed that there is also the another type of current density arises if there is an electric field as well as magnetic field, and that new current density is nothing but known as displacement current density. So displacement current density is denoted by delta D upon delta T, and so the modified form of Ampere circuit law becomes, so we have equation number B. So equation B is nothing but modified form of Ampere circuit law, and it should be written as, so we have curl of vector H is equal to J plus J dash, value of J dash is delta D upon delta T. So this is nothing but the modified form of Ampere circuit law, and this modified form of Ampere circuit law is also the fundamental equations of electromagnetic theory, and so Maxwell proposed that this is also the very important equation, that is curl of H equal to J plus delta D upon delta T. Right? So this is nothing but, say that the modified form. Similarly, we have the another equation, that is curl of E equal to minus delta B upon delta T. So this is the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So how it should be obtained then? So the proof of this equation can be easily defined by the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. According to the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, the induced EMF, so we write then here Faraday's law. According to Faraday's law, the induced EMF, suppose it is indicated by E, is always equal to negative rate of change of flux, magnetic flux, right? So it is indicated by magnetic flux phi b divided by dt. So this is nothing but according to the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, where this flux phi b is nothing but known as flux due to the magnetic induction, and this flux phi b is also written in terms of magnetic induction. So it is nothing but integral over S of vector b dot n ds. So flux is expressed in terms of magnetic induction b. So this equation should be rewritten here. Therefore, another term, that is, this is suppose equation 1, and we may put the value of flux phi suffix b in this equation. So the induced EMF is also written as minus d by dt of integral over S of vector b dot n ds. And if we take this integral inside, so we have minus, because they are independent variables, and so we may write this inside the integral also. It is nothing but written as dabba b upon dabba d dot n ds. So this is nothing but induced EMF. But according to the Faraday's law, induced EMF is also expressed in terms of electric intensity, right? And so this electric intensity is denoted by E, right? So we have integral over C of vector E dot dl. This is also the another equation, right? Now if we put the value of this induced EMF in this previous equation, then we rewrite this equation as integral over C of vector E dot dl is equal to minus integral over S of dabba b upon dabba t dot n ds. So this is nothing but the equation which is formed. Now on LHS side we have a line integral, while on RHS side we have a surface integral. This line integral is easily converted in terms of surface integral by using Stokes theorem. So using Stokes theorem we convert this line integral in terms of a surface integral. So it is nothing but how it should be written then. We know that if we have line integral of any vector, suppose that A is a vector of dl, then it should be written according to the Stokes theorem, it should be written as integral over S closed surface integral curl of that vector. So curl of vector A dot n ds. So we rewrite the LHS of the previous equation. So LHS of the equation, above equation becomes, so equation number 3 becomes, say that integral over S of curl of that vector, curl of vector E dot n ds is equal to minus, we have integral over S of dabba b upon dabba t dot n ds. So on both sides we have surface integral over the same surface. So we may reduces this equation in a simple form, that is curl of vector E is equal to minus dabba b upon dabba t. And this is nothing but, say that, the Maxwell equation which is supposed to be considered. So out of 4, or the set of 4 equations, one of the equation is nothing but obtained from Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So this is the equation which is obtained from this. So this is nothing but, say that, how these Maxwell's equations can be derived, right? Now we want to consider that we have to find out then the applications of Maxwell equation. The most important application of Maxwell equation is the Poynting vector theorem. So this Poynting vector theorem proposes a relation for energy that is nothing but known as an electromagnetic energy. So we consider an relation for the Poynting vector theorem. So Poynting vector theorem this is the first, say that, the application of Maxwell's equations. Now we already know that if energy is stored in the form of electric field, then this energy can be defined as, so work done, and work done in case of electric field, it is simply given by integral over V 1/2 of epsilon into E square into dV. So this is nothing but energy stored in an electric field, and so it should be simply expressed by using the equation, that is integral over V 1/2 of epsilon into E square into dV. Similarly, if we have, say that, in the presence of magnetic field, so in the presence of magnetic field, the equation for magnetic energy is defined by Wm is equal to integral over V 1/2 of mu h square into dV. So this is nothing but equation for magnetic energy. So if these are the two energies which are present in separate manner, that is electric field in the form of electric field and in the form of magnetic field. Now we want to obtain an expression for electromagnetic energy. That means if both fields are present, then we want to derive the expression for electromagnetic energy. So to obtain the electromagnetic energy relation or Poynting vector theorem, we have to use then the Maxwell's equation. So there are the two equations. One of the equation is curl of vector E is equal to minus delta B upon delta T. This is the one equation. And the another equation is curl of vector H is equal to J plus delta D upon delta T. These are the two equations by using which we want to obtain an expression for electromagnetic energy or Poynting vector theorem. Now multiply or take the dot product of vector H with the equation 1 and dot product of vector E with the second equation. So this is the equation for E, and so we take dot product with H then. So we have H dot on both sides. So curl of vector E, H dot curl of vector E is equal to minus H dot delta B upon delta T. So this is suppose equation number 3. Similarly, equation 2 where we take dot product with vector E. So vector E, if we take dot product, then vector E into curl of vector H is equal to, we have vector E dot vector J plus vector E into dot vector D delta D upon delta T. So this is equation number, say that 4. Now we have two equations where one is associated with electric intensity, curl of electric intensity, while another is equation for curl of vector H, that is magnetic intensity. Now subtract equation 4 from equation 3. So on LHS side, it becomes, say that H into curl of vector E minus, we have the second equation on left LHS of the next equation, that is curl of vector H is equal to, now on RHS side we have minus H into delta B upon delta T minus, we have the fourth equation, so minus vector E dot vector J minus, we have vector E into delta D upon delta T. So this is nothing but a new equation, that is nothing but equation number 5. That is, here we have subtract equation 4 from 3. So equation should be rewritten in this manner. Now in this case, on the left hand side we have the vector identity. What is the vector identity then? If we have, suppose, the divergence of cross product of two vectors, so suppose that vector A, another vector is B, it should be simply written as, that means divergence of cross product of two vectors is simply written as B into curl of vector A minus A into curl of vector B. So this is the, say that vector identity. Apply this vector identity then. So apply this vector identity to the above equation, then LHS of the equation can be written as, so LHS of equation 5 becomes, it should be simply written as divergence of curl of two vectors. One is, first vector is E, another vector is H. So vector E cross vector H is equal to, we have the equation on right hand side as it is, so minus E dot J first minus E into delta D upon delta T, and the next term is H into delta B upon delta T. So this is nothing but, say that equation number 6. Now in the equation 6 we have a new term which is arises, E into delta D upon delta T, and here we have H into delta B upon delta T. That means we again apply a vector identity, right? What vector identity then? Suppose we have, say that delta by delta T of two vectors, suppose one is vector A, another is nothing but vector B. Now according to the equation it should be written as, say that A into delta B upon delta T plus b into dabba A upon dabba T. But if both vectors are same, then it should be written as dabba by dabba T of A dot A. It should be written as A into, we have dabba A upon dabba T, plus again we have A into dabba A upon dabba T. So on right hand side we have 2 times A into dabba A upon dabba T. Right. So from similar equation, so from this equation what we have get, so A on this side, so A dot dabba A upon dabba T, this value can be easily calculated. It is equal to, take 2 on left hand side, so 1/2 of the time derivative of the 2 vectors A dot A. Means what it indicates, it is nothing but say that 1/2 of dabba by dabba T of mod of 2 vectors, that is multiply it, so it should be equal to A square. So using this, we may put this value in equation 6, that is E dot dabba D upon dabba T. Similarly, H dot dabba B upon dabba T in the form of this type of term. So equation should be rewritten as equation 6. So equation 6 can be rewritten we have divergence of vector E cross vector H is equal to minus E dot J minus, we have E into, so it should be written as 1/2 of, so it should be written as 1/2 of the 2 terms, that is D is also written in terms of epsilon E. So put the value, that is D is nothing but equal to epsilon into E, which is nothing but the subsidiary equation. So equation should be rewritten as 1/2 of dabba by dabba T of D equal to epsilon E, means we have epsilon into E square. Similarly, the second term, that is minus H, it should be written as 1/2 of dabba by dabba T of mu into H square. So equation should be written in this. So this is equation number 7. So equation 7 is nothing but said to be considered that on LHS side we have divergence of cross product of 2 vectors should be written in the right hand side in the form of 3 terms. First term is minus E dot J, the second term is minus 1/2 of time derivative of epsilon into E square and 1/2 of dabba by dabba T of mu H square. Right. On LHS side, if we take, so that take the volume integral on both sides of equation 7. So if we take volume integral on both sides, we rewrite this equation as integral over V divergence of cross product of 2 vectors H into dV is equal to minus integral over V of vector E dot J into dV minus, we have integral over V 1/2 of the time derivative of epsilon into E square into dV, and the next term, that is minus integral over V 1/2 of the time derivative of mu H square into dV. So this is nothing but the equation. But on LHS side, we have divergence operator along with volume integral. So this volume integral is easily transferred in terms of surface integral. So equation should be written as, so we have the equation integral over S of the vector. So vector is E cross H dot N ds, and on right hand side we have same terms minus integral over V of vector E dot J into dV. Now we have rearrange the terms. So time derivative is taken outside and remaining term take inside. So the time derivative of integral over V 1/2 of epsilon into E square into dV, and the next term is minus the time derivative of integral over V 1/2 of mu H square into dV. So this is the nothing but the new equation which is obtained, that is by using Maxwell's equations, that is Maxwell equation, that is of vector E, and another is nothing but vector H, and this equation is referred to the Poynting vector theorem. What it indicates then, on LHS side we have a new vector, And this vector is nothing but the cross multiplication of two vectors, that is electric intensity, another is nothing but known as a magnetic intensity. This vector is nothing but known as a Poynting vector. This vector is nothing but indicated by, sometimes it is indicated by P, and while in some books it is also denoted by N also. So this P is nothing but Poynting vector, it is indicated by vector E cross H. So this is nothing but a Poynting vector where E and H, they are always perpendicular to each other. Now again the third term, that the Poynting vector is always say that perpendicular to the vector E as well as vector H, right? And so the amount of energy or flow of energy can be expressed as over the surfaces is equal to, we have three terms then. The first term is associated with, there is a negative sign, it indicates that there is a loss. This loss is nothing but known as total energy loss in over the volume due to a ohmic loss. Because why it is called ohmic loss? Because there is a term that is J, and according to the Maxwell equation, J is nothing but equal to sigma into E. What is sigma? Sigma is nothing but referred as conductivity of the medium. And if we have conducting medium, there is a use of any conductor. And if there is a use of a conductor, there is a ohmic loss. And so this ohmic loss is occur, and so this type of loss is nothing but known as a ohmic loss. While now we have remaining two terms. Here time derivative of 1/2 of epsilon into E square. Now this is nothing but, already we know that it is nothing but energy stored in the form of electric field, which already we discussed. That is energy stored in the form of electric field, that is defined by 1/2 of epsilon into E square. While energy stored in the form of magnetic field, it is denoted by integral over V of 1/2 of mu H square into dV. So these are the two terms arises, where there is a common term which is nothing but present here, that is nothing but say that minus dou by dou t. And if we have rewrite that equation on RHS side, we have this Poynting vector P. So equation should be written as integral over S of vector P dot n ds is equal to minus integral over V E dot J into dV minus, we have time derivative is common, so time derivative integral over V of sum of two terms. One is nothing but 1/2 of epsilon into E square, while second term is 1/2 of mu H square into dV. That means energy stored in the form of electric field and energy stored of magnetic field, that is nothing but sum of is taken, and so we get a new term here, that is negative rate of change of electromagnetic energy. So this is nothing but say that the Poynting vector theorem. So Poynting vector theorem states that the total energy flux coming out of the surface is always equal to the sum of two, say that power or energies. One is nothing but power dissipated by using then ohmic loss or due to the ohmic loss, and the another is nothing but the time derivative of electromagnetic energy. So this theorem clearly gives that if there is any surface element and if current is flowing through this, and if this say that element is placed in an electromagnetic field, then there is a say that loss of energy, and this loss of energy is expressed by using this equation. This is a very fundamental equations which is well known to derive then the losses, and these losses can be implemented for designing then various types of applications, particularly in the case of designing then antennas. So how much losses occur, that can be studied with the help of this type of equation. Okay.